Hi, welcome to Pluto's Pearl Elemental Astrology with myself, IrysRose. Today, I would like to talk about relationship astrology. This is one of the types of astrology that I do really enjoy looking at. And this is whenever you look at one or more charts together, a relationship, whether they are, it's an intimate, personal relationship, a partnership, a business relationship, friendship, family, whatever. You can do this with any type of relationship when you take two or more charts and put together, but we'll just do two charts. We'll talk about two charts to make it simple. And so when we're looking at this relationship astrology, there's three different things to look at. First, the individual chart. Second, the synastry chart, how the charts communicate. And then third, the composite chart. So a synastry chart is when you take the two charts and you put them together and you look at how the planets in each of the individual charts are making connections, the aspects. That's how they're communicating and interacting with one another. This is the synastry chart. Next, the composite chart. When you put the two charts together, this is forming that third aspect. And this is going to show the relationship, the mission and the purpose, the reason these two individuals have come together. What's their purpose? What's their mission? I really like looking at the composite chart in that evolutionary aspect, looking at the higher purpose, the higher mission, what it is these two people have come together to do. Now, we can also look at all of the challenges in the relationship. There's so much with astrology. It is so depth, and each piece has an infinite, if not more. Can there be more? There's so much that every little layer can say. From my perspective and my view, when I'm looking at the chart, there is no such thing as good or bad. It's not. A challenging aspect for one person might not be a challenging aspect for another person. And this is where we start looking, like I'm saying, there's infinite layers and levels. You have to take the individual's experience and their consciousness into the equation. There can be 100 possibilities, but what is that individual's experience? What is that individual's level of consciousness, and what are they going to accomplish with this aspect, or is this going to be inhibiting to them? I know, I just laid out a lot that's really confusing, right? How do we make sense out of that? Well, you can't just look at a chart and say XYZ. Kind of, but this is where it's not always accurate. When you read the horoscope, this is why it's not accurate all of the time, because you have to have a conversation with the person. The chart is meaningless without that individual there with you. This is where the conversation can begin. So we're having a conversation and we're bringing these charts into the conversation to have an in-depth look at the questions and the queries that you're bringing or that you're wanting to look into. We can see what's happening then based on what you're asking. And there's a way out of everything. So if you're experiencing a challenge, we find where that is in the chart. We look at whether that's happening in the natal chart, the synastry chart, the transits, or the progressions, or a combination of that. Once we see where it is in the chart, or I should say I see, once we find that in the chart, now we can talk about ways to help mitigate those effects. Or if it's creating a challenge, how can that be overcome?